All right. This is the final spoiler-filled check-in of the Man from Glengarry. This is um, the West and Glengarry forever. Where, okay, spoilers. Ronald McDonald saves Canada. Saves Canada. Mamie marries the douche, and he, of course, ends up with the the second girl, who was the actual true good girl that he should marry all along, and stops by to right Huey, who is going on a little bit of a crooked path. Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay, Ronald, Ronald, who has been the big damn hero of this whole fucking story from the beginning. Super honorable. I think in the last thing he refused to compromise his morals in the name of business, and thus quit with Mamie's um, schemy, slimy business father. Ended up with the American. In these chapters, he's in British Columbia, and the American colonel comes to visit him. Finds he's just like everybody loves him. He's making do with like substandard equipment with the greatest men and just greatest management stuff. And he attends a meeting in New Westminster because it's all about, will British Columbia join the Federation, the Dominion, and Ronald speaks up and sways the crowd away from annexing with the Americans and saying like, no, we've got to, this is a great country and we've got to, da, 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 da. And he finds himself swept up and elected as one of the men to go back east to find out what's to find out, to make their case for British Columbia, actually joining the Dominion, and we have to have, having to have the assurance that the railway will be built, that they'll start building the railway, or else, it doesn't look good for doing Canada. And indeed, they come west, and let me skip over the whole thing with Kate at this point, but because he's got a picture of Mrs. Murphy and Murray and of Kate on his wall, the two paragons, divines of his life, obviously. But they go across east, and indeed he meets John A. MacDonald, who's sly and smart and knows everything about this country, knows all about the West, and he's like, no, Ronald, the best, stuff that I need to know. And indeed, it seems like Ronald, just with his great forthrightness and being a Glengarry man, it's like, oh, he's he they've he it gets, he says that we need that promise, Mr. McDonald, from the Prime Minister. And it's like, oh well, I'm sure you'll be happy. We'll do our best. And you think, oh, he's a slippery politician. What's he going to do? And they go to the business meeting, and he's getting raked over the coals about the whole thing, and about his business practices, because it was the whole thing of that he was doing such a great job running the company with a little bit extra costs, but they were bringing in way more logs. But unfortunately, the market was such that it wasn't working. And he's, Ronald's like, hey, I've got 3 more contracts here that, once the railway starts getting built, they'll come in, these big orders that'll take all of our stuff. It's like, well, that's no good. We haven't had that promise yet. Well, I've talked to him, and he said that they're going to do it. It's like, did he promise? Well, no, he didn't promise. And then it's like, suddenly someone comes in with a newspaper and says, look, he's promised it in the newspaper that they'll start building it this fall. And it's like, huzzah. And meanwhile, as he's coming east, he hears about that Kate is getting married to Harry. It's like, Mamie's brother, and it's like, oh, it crushes him. And he sees Mamie, and Mamie sort of gives him like, it's like, oh yes, I'm sure they're going to be very happy together, and all that. But it turns out it's all like a fucking misunderstanding, and that Harry is actually marrying this Lily woman. So was Mamie being a complete bitch and not writing him, or what? It's just like, or just like they assumed he knew it was Lily, this Lily or person, but it's not. It's not. Um, it's not Kate. And indeed, the last scene is Kate saying like, "Oh, I'm going to be yours," and it's like super happy. And oh my God. So yes, Ronald McDonald saves Canada. Oh my God. And he's such a good Christian man. And indeed, he makes his great thanks to, he when he's talking to Hugh at the end, who's fallen in with a bit of the wrong crowd and doesn't seem to realize exactly how lucky he is to have this angel saint of a mother. And he's, Ronald just, does a very stern talking with him, which totally rights him around and says, and I'd be happy to happy to have him come west, and, he could work for me for a while, and that would be like, also be good. And it's like, because I want to pay you back for all the great things you did of helping me and my life at that crucial moment in the thing. So, it's like, oh, God. Ronald McDonald saves Canada. Hopefully this isn't an autobiographical book, because if it is, Ralph Connor really would feel completely very high on himself. Yeah, he would feel very Jesus Christ. So it was a consistently entertainingly interesting book. Oh, and John A. MacDonald does talk about building an empire. And it's like, it's with men like you that will build this empire. It's like this whole kind of nation building. This really is this, you think about when this is Ralph Connor, the author is born around this time of the nation building of Canada as an empire, which, yeah, this is completely disappears anything with native people in it. And there's also, there's a cook at some point, which has kind of got some really, unfortunate kind of the racial stereotyping there. It's like, yeah. So it's Jesus. Okay, well, I'm glad. Thank you, Sean, for recommending that. Not recommending that, but pointing it out as existence, because it was a fascinating book to read of this part of Canadian history. And it's actually one of these things of like, I should probably read more Canadian books, just to kind of get that kind of flavor of overwhelming, earnest Canadian Christianity, muscular Christianity, reformist, kind of God-fearing, the fear of God, sort of stuff, with superhero Christian superhero at the center of it. All right, I will leave it there. More videos later.